Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about operators. So, what are operators? Operators are just symbols or sets of symbols used in your code that help you perform some kind of an operation on data. Okay? So, essentially what happens is an operator takes in some number of variables or some number of data elements, uses these to calculate an answer and returns this answer as the output. Okay, exactly what operation it does to these variables to calculate this answer depends on what the operator is, right? This might seem a little abstract when I put it like this, but as soon as we see an example, it'll become really clear. So this plus operator that we used just in our previous video is an operator. Here the example is 2 plus 3. So the data elements that this plus operator is taking in is 2 and 3. It performs the addition operation on these, which it is meant for, and calculates the answer value 5, and this is what it outputs. Okay, so that's all operators are. Now let's look at the different types of operators. So the first type of operator that we're going to look at is the assignment operator. Now we've all seen this line of code x is equal to 10 a lot of times, right? We've thought of this before as x variable now pointing to the data element 10, or the data 10 now being stored in the variable x, right? But this can also be thought of in terms of the assignment operator, which is this equal to sign in the middle. Okay, the way to think about this is that this equal to sign performs an operation that assigns the value on the right hand side to the variable on the left hand side. So that's all that there is to this assignment operator. Now this operation doesn't technically return any output value, but it does do some function, right? It assigns the value on the right hand side to the variable on the left hand side. So that's all about the assignment operator. Now let's look at some other types of operators. So the most commonly used types of operators are arithmetic operators. These operators work on numeric data and they produce a numeric result. Okay, we've used a few of these in our previous video, so let's look at more of these in detail. So these are the 4 most commonly used arithmetic operators. Here you can see the first operator is plus. The syntax for this is x plus y, and the operation it performs is addition, right? Similarly, we have minus, this star sign, and this slash. So minus performs the subtraction operation, which is obvious. This star sign performs the multiplication operation, and we've used this also in our previous code, right? The slash operation is new to us. This slash operation performs division. So when you write x slash y, where x and y are 2 variables, if you write this in your code, it's going to perform the division operation on x and y, and it's going to return the result. Okay, now let's look at some more complex arithmetic operators. So here we have the double slash operator. The syntax for this is similar to the others. It's x double slash y. What this does is something that is known as integer division. Basically, it performs the division of x and y and returns only the quotient. Okay, so in other words, if you perform the complete division of x and y, it will truncate the decimal part and return only the whole number. This is the same as the quotient. This percentage operator is something that we call the modulo operator. Okay, it performs something known as the modulo operation. What this operation does is that it returns the remainder when x is divided by y. So x percentage y, if written in your code, will return the remainder when x is divided by y. Okay, let's look at another arithmetic operator now. So this star star operator is is an operator that performs the operation of x to the power of y, right? So if you write x star star y, that's basically going to calculate x to the power of y and give you the answer. Okay, so these are all the commonly used arithmetic operators. Now let's look at comparison operators. Comparison operators are operators that take in two datas and perform some kind of comparison between them and check whether this is true or false. Okay, so their input data is usually some integer. Okay, they perform some kind of a check on these integers based on what the operator is, and it returns a Boolean value. This will become clear when we look at these operators actually. So let's do that. So the first operator is the equal to operator. Okay, the syntax for this is x equal to y. Okay, what this operator does is that it checks whether or not x is equal to y, right? If x is equal to y, then it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Okay, so it returns true when the value of x is the same as the value of y. Similarly, we have this other operator, which is an exclamation mark and then an equal to sign. The syntax is similar, and what this does is it's the reverse of the previous operator. Basically, it's called the not equal operator. So it checks whether the values of x and y are different, and if these values are different, if these values are not equal to each other, then it returns true. Okay, let's see some more comparison operators. So here we have the greater than operator. So if you write something like x greater than y in your code will check whether or not x is greater than y. If it is greater than y, then it will return true, otherwise it will return a false Boolean value. Okay, similarly we have this smaller than operator. So this checks if x is smaller than y or not. We also have greater than equal to. This operator checks whether x is greater than or equal to y or not and returns true if it is. If it isn't, then it returns false. And similar to this is the less than equal to operator. Okay, so this is all the commonly used comparison operators. Now let's look at logical operators. So logical operators are operators that take in two Boolean values and then perform some kind of a logical operation on them and return another Boolean value. Okay, let's try to understand this through some examples. So here, let's look at the first operator. This is called the AND operator. Okay, the operation that it does is that it returns a true Boolean value if x is a true Boolean value and y is a true Boolean value. Okay, if either of them is a false Boolean value, then it will return false. It will only return true if both of them are true Boolean values. Basically, it performs the logical operation of AND, if you're familiar with that. Okay, the next operator is the OR operator. So the syntax for this is x or y. Okay, this returns true either when x is true or when y is true or when both of them are true. Okay, so the only time it doesn't return true is when x and y are both false. That time it returns false. Okay, now we have finally the NOT operator. The NOT, unlike the operators we've seen till now, is a unary operator, which means that the input that it has is only a single data or a single variable. Okay, so here you can see the syntax is not x, and what this does is it returns true if x is false and it returns false if x is true. Basically, it returns the reverse of the input Boolean value. So These are all the logical operators commonly used. There is also some other types of operators known as bitwise operators. But that is a topic for Computer Programming 102, so we'll discuss that later. Thank you for watching, and if you have any doubts, feel free to leave them in the comments.